The film kicks off with Detective David Mills stepping into his new role, partnered with the seasoned and soon-to-retire William Somerset. Let's just say they don't exactly hit it off. Their first case throws them straight into a disturbing scene. An extremely overweight man found dead. This wasn't just a tragic accident, it was murder. Somerset begins carefully combing through the crime scene, while Mills, impatient and frustrated, struggles to stay composed. Hoping to get some quiet, Somerset sends Mills to interview neighbors. Not exactly a glamorous task, and Mills knows it. He vents later, feeling brushed off and craving some professional respect. Then the forensic report drops a shocker. The man was force-fed to death, literally. The killer stuffed him for hours, then delivered a brutal kick to finish him off. Somerset suspects this isn't a one-off crime. There's meaning behind it. But the captain isn't convinced and thinks it's just some cruel act against an overweight victim. Somerset, though, senses something bigger and worries that Mills may be in over his head. Mills, meanwhile, isn't about to let Somerset write him off, but the captain sides with the veteran and temporarily pulls Mills from the case. Tuesday arrives and things spiral. A high-profile lawyer turns up dead in his office. The word greed is written across the carpet, and his wife's photo has been defaced. As chaos swarms the crime scene with media everywhere, the captain pulls Somerset back in, unwilling to lose his sharp instincts just yet. There's a twist too. Small plastic pieces were found in the stomach of the first victim, which leads Somerset back to the original crime scene. There, behind the refrigerator, Somerset finds a hidden message left by the killer. A breadcrumb in a larger, more sinister trail. It clicks. The killer is staging murders based on the 7 deadly sins. Gluttony and greed already checked off. But with only 5 days left until retirement, Somerset wants no part in chasing this psychopath. Still, he spends his night in the library, diving into books about the 7 deadly sins, while Mills goes over crime scene photos. The next morning, Somerset leaves behind some key notes for Mills to help him keep pace. Mills is now in Somerset's old office. They'll work together until Somerset clocks out for good. A surprise phone call changes the tone. It's Mills' wife, Tracy, inviting Somerset to dinner. Over the meal, talk turns to Somerset's bachelor life and his distant nature. When the topic shifts to their new apartment, the whole place suddenly trembles. They're living over a subway line, a detail their realtor never mentioned. After dinner, they dive back into the investigation. Mills shows Somerset a chilling image, a scale with a pound of human flesh, which the murdered attorney had to cut from himself. Another taunting note from the killer accompanies the photo. As they search for what they're missing, Mills notices something off. In the photo of the attorney's wife, someone had drawn glasses over her face. This clue leads them to visit the wife. When shown her husband's office photo, she notices a painting that was hung upside down. Behind that painting, they find another clue, fingerprints on the walls spelling out "Help me." A horrifying realization settles in. Later, as they wait for fingerprint analysis, Somerset reflects on the futility of their work. Mills challenges him, saying he clearly enjoys the job, even if he won't admit it. By Thursday, the fingerprints lead them to a suspect. Somerset, however, doubts this is their killer. This feels more calculated. SWAT storms the suspect's apartment, only to find something terrifying. A man strapped to a bed, decayed but alive. He's been there for a year, suffering every moment. The killer used him to represent sloth. The horror isn't over. The man's mind is gone, his tongue chewed off, and his body ravaged. Doctors confirmed he was alive through most of his ordeal. Later that night, Tracy calls Somerset. Alone in a city she doesn't know, she reaches out to the one person who seems to understand how dark things can get. Friday arrives, and Tracy meets up with Somerset at a quiet diner. She opens up about her growing doubts. Maybe the city isn't the right place to raise a child. Somerset might not be the perfect person to turn to, but he shares a glimpse of his past and offers what advice he can. drawing from his own regrets. Meanwhile, Mills is restless back at the station. With a calculated killer still at large, the idea of waiting around doesn't sit well with him. But Somerset reminds him, this isn't the work of a maniac. Think about it. Someone kept a victim barely alive for an entire year, then severed a hand to plant fingerprints. This isn't madness. It's something far more chilling. It's deliberate, disciplined. Mills brings up something seemingly minor, a library card. That triggers an idea in Somerset. What if the killer researched the 7 deadly sins in local libraries? They head to the nearest branch. He manages to pull some strings and convinces a contact in the FBI to provide names of individuals who've checked out these books. It's a legal gray area, and Mills isn't exactly thrilled about it. But at this point, the rules feel more like obstacles. From the list of names they receive, one in particular jumps out: John Doe. They head to the listed address, unsure what to expect. As they approach the door, a man shows up with groceries. Without warning, he pulls a gun and opens fire. A wild chase follows. Mills pushes himself to the limit, but Doe manages to ambush him, knocking him down and disarming him. With the gun aimed at Mills' head, he pauses, then spares him, disappearing just as quickly as he appeared. Back at Doe's door, tensions rise. Fueled by rage and adrenaline, he kicks the door down. To cover their tracks, they pay a homeless woman to pretend she saw something suspicious and tip them off. Inside, the apartment is pure nightmare fuel. Dark, silent, and sickeningly methodical. Somerset finds cans of spaghetti, the preserved hand used to stage the fingerprints, and a haunting portrait of a woman. Mills uncovers a series of disturbing photographs, images of each victim, each crime, meticulously documented. Somerset is drawn into the killer's journals, hundreds of pages of madness, obsession, and chilling clarity. Then comes the bombshell. Their killer, John Doe, had been posing as a press photographer. Forensics finds nothing. No usable fingerprints. No trail to follow. Mills is rattled, but Somerset seems strangely composed, still absorbed in the killer's writings. Then the phone rings. It's Doe. Calm, collected, almost respectful. He speaks with eerie admiration, even apologizing to Mills for what happened during the chase. But he says the encounter has forced him to speed things up. They should prepare themselves. Saturday will bring something unexpected. The next clue comes from an S&N shop. A strange custom item Doe ordered matches what they've seen. Just as they begin piecing it together, news of another murder breaks, this one tied to lust. While Mills presses the club owner for details, Somerset speaks to the traumatized man. Through panicked sobs, he claims Doe forced him at gunpoint to participate in the horror. To back up the story, Somerset shows him a photo of the terrifying custom weapon Doe had made, and it's enough to confirm everything. That night, over drinks at a dimly lit bar, the weight of it all starts to bear down on them. They talk shop, but it drifts into deeper territory. They ponder the state of the world, a place where cruelty is easier than kindness, where taking feels more natural than earning. Somerset admits that's exactly why he's retiring. But Mills? He's not ready to surrender to that kind of cynicism. He still believes the world can be better, and he's not giving up hope. Somerset can't stop thinking about what Mills said. The words echo in his head long after the conversation is over. Then Sunday arrives, and so does another brutal scene. This time, it's Pride. The victim, a woman, was given a horrific choice: call for help and live horribly disfigured, or take her own life with a bottle of pills. She chose the latter. On the ride back, something changes in Somerset. He's pulled back into the case. He decides he's not leaving. Not yet. Not until they catch John Doe. If he walks away now, this nightmare may never end. Back at the precinct, things take a surreal turn. A blood-soaked John Doe casually walks into the lobby, catching everyone completely off guard. Mills immediately springs into action. shouting orders as Doe is arrested without resistance. What's disturbing isn't just the surrender, it's Doe's eerie calm. Even when speaking with his lawyer, he remains composed. The detectives are baffled. Why turn himself in now? They start digging into his background and quickly realize how little there is. No fingerprints, because he sliced off his fingertips. No job history. No bank records. He's educated, wealthy, but completely off the grid. Every move he's made seems meticulously planned, and he clearly views his crimes as a twisted work of art. For the first time, Somerset and Mills are aligned. Something's off. There's no way Doe would turn himself in unless his plan was still in motion. Then, in a tense meeting with city officials, Doe's lawyer makes an offer. There are 2 more victims, but Doe will only reveal their locations under strict conditions. He'll only talk to Somerset and Mills. At exactly 6 p.m., they'll go with him to the bodies. If they refuse, he'll plead insanity. If they agree, he'll confess everything and plead guilty. Left with little choice, the detectives agree. As evening approaches, Mills and Somerset suit up with body armor and hidden mix. A helicopter follows above as they drive deep into the outskirts, with Doe calmly seated between them. During the ride, the detectives press in for details, but Doe deflects. His past, his real name, he claims none of it matters. Mills suspects Doe is stalling, leading them nowhere. But Doe says his final act will make everything clear. He insists that each murder was carefully designed to punish sinners with their own sin. And yes, he took satisfaction in it. But he denies being crazy. When Mills accuses him of targeting innocent people, Doe's mask slips. He snaps, ranting about society's acceptance of sin, how the world turns a blind eye to corruption and vice. His murders, he says, are meant to wake people up. This is his message. And Mills? He's part of that message now. Somerset keeps his composure. Mills, less so. Eventually, they arrive at an empty, barren field marked by towering power lines. There's nothing but dust, a rusty car, and an old trailer. The helicopter can't follow due to the power lines. With Doe in cuffs, they walk into the open space. Then, just before 7 p.m., a delivery van appears out of nowhere. Alarmed, Somerset rushes to intercept. A driver steps out with a box addressed to Detective Mills. Somerset, tense and cautious, sends the driver away and opens the package with his knife. What he finds inside shakes him to the core. Back in the field, Doe begins speaking, almost fondly, about Mills' life, especially his wife, Tracy. He describes visiting her earlier that day. When he couldn't be her husband, he says, he took something instead. A trophy. That head. Mills is stunned, confused, then horrified. As Somerset runs back toward them, Doe confesses, envy was his sin. He envied Mills' simple, happy life. That's why he killed Tracy. Mills, still reeling, can't believe what he's hearing. Somerset pleads with him, trying to explain. This is all part of Doe's plan. He wants Mills to kill him. That would complete the final sin, wrath. Doe keeps pushing. He tells Mills that Tracy begged for her life, and for the life of their unborn child. A child Mills didn't even know she was carrying. Something inside Mills shatters. Somerset begs him, don't do it. Don't give him what he wants. But it's too late. In a flash of fury and grief, Mills pulls the trigger, again, and again, and again. John Doe is dead, his masterpiece complete. Later, a shattered Mills sits silently in the back of a police cruiser. The captain gently tells Somerset that Mills will be taken care of. As the dust settles, Somerset reflects on everything that's happened, the horror, the hopelessness, the evil they've witnessed. He recalls Hemingway's words, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for." He adds softly, "I agree with the second part." Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.